Good evening. This is our special called agenda, and we're getting this feedback problem again. Is that speakers in the ceiling or is that the TVs? Sounds like they got it. We still get that echo. If it's that TV, cut the volume off on it, maybe it's possible. We'll give it a try. We need to get that fixed for the next meeting.
On the black box.
So we're here for a special called meeting of the Board Mayor and Alderman, Thursday, November 20th. And if you would, let's rise for invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Father in heaven, we thank you this evening for this warm, dry place to meet together. We pray that as with the winter weather is coming in, that you would keep our pilots and our passengers and our staff at the airport safe, as well as all of our first responders. We pray that we would make wise decisions for the protection of our airport this evening. Be with us as we make these decisions. In Jesus' name, amen. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to open our meeting with comments from citizens. And Mr. Bennett, you were first on the list.
I'm a physician in town, a resident of Tullahoma. I'm also an aircraft owner and pilot based out of Tullahoma. I'm also a member of the search committee for the new airport manager. And I'm coming here tonight to express that I hope the board adopts the contract that we've proposed for Ms. Ashley Udick as an interim manager. We as pilots sometimes don't pay attention to how the airport is being run. If the runways are clear and the gas is cheap, we're happy. But what we found over the last couple of months is that the airport had some significant problems. It wasn't being managed as we, the pilots, thought it should have been managed. And the airport board eventually found that out as well. For that reason, that's why there's a vacancy, and we are currently searching for a good new airport manager. That process can take a little bit of time, but the airport needs help right now. We need somebody to come in, tell us what we don't know, tell us how to fix it, and get us on the right pathway so that when a new airport manager comes in, they can help us be, as Rodney has pointed out, the airport of the year a few years ago, that we can be that same airport of the year coming up in either 26 or 27. So I would encourage the board to approve the contract for Ms. Udick to come in for a couple of months so that we can get the airport back on track, and while we search for a new permanent manager for the airport that can lead us in the right direction.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Rod Allison.
Good evening. I'm Rodney Allison, the owner of XP Services. I have a few hangars over at the airport and pretty heavily vested in the city and this airport. Like Dr. Bennett said, you know, we're heavily vested in the airport, both for the city and for my business. We need an airport manager at this airport desperately. You guys are aware, yesterday we had a crash at the airport. We didn't follow procedure. We had a fuel spill here a couple weeks ago, so it cost the city thousands of dollars because we didn't follow procedure. We have to have an airport manager that follows procedure. You guys that have read Ashley's resume, she's the person to come in and do this job. She's only willing to do it for a short period, but you guys have watched the movie Roadhouse. Ashley's the Patrick Swayze of Roadhouse. She's going to come in here and fix the problems. And then the guy that we're hiring, or gal that we bring in here, she'll already set it straight for him. So that's my point. So thank you very much.
Thanks, sir. Alex Engler.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Alderman. Alex Engler, and I have an airplane at the airport, and I'm speaking on behalf of many other users, owners of airplanes, hangars, and we stand 100% behind Ms. Udick. We would like for her to turn things around. It'll be safer. It'll be better for the community because it'll attract more business. We're hoping to see more industrialization of the airport and better use in the future. And in our opinion, and I'm speaking for several others, that's exactly what's needed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And then the last one we have signed up is Mr. Davis, Mitch Davis. Yeah.
I want to say good evening to everybody. Mitch Davis here. Tullahoma resident, have a lot of money invested in the airport, have a lot of money invested here in town. Lately, things have not been going well at the airport, and there's definitely a need for transparency. And I'm urging, and pleading with the city to bring on somebody to take care of the airport. I think the airport board has made a good choice to get somebody in and basically house clean, turn things upside down, and get off to a fresh start. Right now, your tab is over $650,000, not including lost fuel, lost revenue, and all kinds of other things that the city will never see that money back. We do need to have somebody in to make changes. We need somebody that doesn't get influenced by anybody else at the airport or anybody else in the city. They need to be able to come in and do their job freely as best as they can, as they've done for other cities and other areas. And I think it's important to do that. To put it politely, right now, the airport has been suffering from a process called Munchausen at work. And that's really where it's at right now. And it's not just known here, it's known across the United States. A lot of us travel. We do own and fly aircraft. We do have hangars, and we're invested in this. And we have people that ask us what the heck is going on in Tullahoma. And that's the best descriptive that I can give right now. And I just wanted to make my appearance here as an investor in this community and ask that, approve the funds to allow this interim manager to come in and help out. It's really needed. There's businesses that don't want to move here because there's nothing to attract them there. Between runway space, hangar availability, there's over 60 people on a waiting list right now at that airport that want to have hangars. They're not hard to build. It's not hard to put together, but we need the right person in place to help accommodate this, to help build the community, attract businesses that are going to invest money, tax dollars, and jobs in this community to make it what it should be. We were Airport of the Year in I think it was 2017. There's no reason why we shouldn't be Airport of the Year for every year moving forward with all the capabilities we have in our community. Pilots, city personnel, and leaders included. We can do it, but we just need some help from the city for right now, but we also need that person to operate as a professional without being told what to do. That's the problem we're facing right now. There's too much sideline antics going on over there, and priorities aren't being held. We had an airplane land the other day with the landing gear up, belly down on the runway. There was a notice posted saying that the runway was closed. Nobody put out white markers on that runway to prevent other pilots from landing and crashing into that plane. That's the kind of things that are going on. We can't afford that as an airport, as a community, as people that fly with our wives, children, and families in our aircraft, as well as people that come to visit. So I just want to let you all know how important it is to really push through with this and make sure that we can focus on what the community needs, what the pilots need, and what the airport needs together. And you'll have a good recipe for success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Kathy?
I had my name on there and crossed.
Okay, it's okay, it's fine.
But, so I'm Kathy Manis. I am also a pilot and have a airplane hangared at our airport. I am also chair of the search committee, a subcommittee of TAA. And I appreciate the time that you all are giving to this important matter. There are so many people here in our city that have no idea we have an airport. I don't know what they think when they see the airplanes flying overhead, but they don't think we had an airport or didn't even know we did. And so we do have some issues going on at the airport, as you are all well aware. And as a search committee, we've been together about a month now, and we do have some resumes that have come in. We've culled through those and narrowed those down, and we've had some more that have come in. I do want you to know, as BOMA, that we are working diligently and being very studious with our time to make sure that we find the best fit that we can for Tullahoma, so that we're not in this same position a year from now or maybe less. We are thankful that we do have Miss Udike as a potential interim. She has done this at other airports, cleaned up. When we interviewed with her over Zoom, we would ask her a question and she would say, yes, this is how I took care of this at this airport. And yes, that's a great question. This is how I handled this. So we do appreciate your time and your consideration for Ms. Udike because she is the best fit for the in-between and finding that hopeful permanent manager. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak during public comment? All right, so we'll close public comment. And that brings us to the first item, item number 25-128, a request to confirm the appointment of Ashley Udike as interim airport manager as selected by the Tullahoma Airport Authority Board and presented by the city administrator. This appointment is contingent on TAA approval of the final employment contract. Do we have a motion for that? Second for discussion? Oh, I'm sorry. I always forget to look at the electronic board. So we have a motion and a second. Mr. Quick, do you have any comment here?
Yes, as our agreement with the Tullahoma Regional Airport and with the Tullahoma Airport Authority, they are to make these types of recommendations to the city. They bring that to the city manager. My role is to look at the candidate they bring forward and provide any feedback that I have. Everything that I've seen, read, and discovered, I think that this is an excellent choice for the airport. There is no doubt that there is a strong leadership that's needed right now, and it's a critical time in the life of the airport. So I strongly urge the board to consider the confirmation of the appointment of Ms. Udike to the role of interim airport manager.
Okay. A couple other quick questions. So I know we had a lot of back and forth this week on contract. Does the city and the TAA all settled now on contract and the applicant?
Alderman Byrd, have you handed those out?
He did.
So this has been a chore for all of us. I appreciate everyone's efforts, including Ms. Hoskins, Attorney Jeremy Bell, Mr. Bard, and Ms. Udike. We have come up with an offer letter that we all have agreed on. We met in my office about an hour or so ago. We feel very comfortable with that letter that we've prepared, and that's what you should have in front of you now.
We do. So,
Really quickly, do we need
Mr.
to vote
Toma.
to approve the agenda?
oh, you're right. We didn't do an approval of the agenda. Sorry. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda? I just jumped right in. All right. We'll just use these. All right. Let's vote on the agenda approval. Thank you, Matthew. All right. Agenda's approved. Now, can we have another motion in a second for the item we're discussing? All right. Mr. Toma.
I've been approached by various people, and when you're dealing with a situation like this, you have to trust the people who are on the board and who support the airport. It's a very important part of this community, and I think it's, as a person who lives in that area, I know how frequent planes come in and out of there. I guess I had a couple of questions in regards. We just got through handed another contract. And my question is, are we willing to have this person as an employee of the city? Are we willing to do it as an independent contractor? I would be more inclined to recommend an independent contractor.
I'm going to allow Ms. Hoskins to discuss that.
So we did discuss doing this as an independent contractor, and maybe Sue might be better to answer this question. There were some conflicts between how she could be hired for insurance purposes. She's gonna need to be covered under insurance, as you all know. And so there was an issue with doing it as a W-2 employee if she had a contract. However, the city could hire her as a W-2 employee without a contract, but there was still a need to have something in writing that was gonna relay what the expectations are, what the responsibilities are on both parties, for Ms. Udike, but also for the city. So that's where we came up with this agreement, which is essentially an offer letter rather than a contract, so that she could be retained as a W-2 employee. The reason that we would rather retain her as a W-2 employee is because she can be placed on the insurance policy of the airport rather than us having to separately fund insurance for her. So if we hired her as a contract employee, then the city would have to reimburse the cost of her insurance separately rather than her being able to be placed on the insurance of the airport. If we hire her as a W-2 employee, she can be on the airport's insurance, so it's a cost savings for the city. So that, And that's the reason that we did that. And if there's anything that you want to add to that, city, you can do so. But that's my understanding, if I got it correct.
Are you,
Yes, I think that covers it, and I think that was acceptable to her.
Yes, yes. She did.
and I have to yield to Sue and Jason in regards to that. You know, I assume as an employee of the city, she gets the same benefits and just like any other employee.
She has waived the benefits that she's allowed to waive. She will still be a part of our TCRS system for the duration that she's here, but as far as the other benefits that she's allowed to waive, she has waived those.
Okay, so y'all are comfortable with that?
Yes. When you look at it, what's the best way for this person to operate? The most efficient way is for her to be a W-2 employee, because she will fall under the policies and procedures such as purchasing policy, for example, that we're all accustomed to, and that we have all of our processes set up. So she will operate under that auspice of being a city employee and being covered by all of the policies and procedures. As an independent contractor, she would not be subject to that, and that's where you could just run into misunderstandings or miscommunications.
Okay. I think the key to it is you all being comfortable with that.
I'd also like to say thank you to Lori Ashley, who has been a strong help in this as well, in trying to put all this together and looking at all the avenues of what's most important and beneficial for everyone involved.
Ms. Wilson?
I would like to just echo some of the sentiments that the citizens had to say. You know, our airport is a huge asset to the city. It has been, you know, has been a great asset, and I would like to see it continue to be a huge asset in the city and even grow to bigger and better things. And I also think it's very important that we set some sort of structure and groundwork for any incoming manager, future manager that we hire. I would like to see, you know, structure put into place that the incoming manager can hit the ground running and have us get to our full potential. So I'm all for Miss Udick. Seems to have a really strong resume, and I think that she brings a lot of talent to bring what we need here to our airport.
Alderman Byrd? I think you had your button pushed.
Yes. I'd like to first thank the search committee for all the work that's gone into just this part of it, and also thank you for the work that you're going to be doing in the future, finding the permanent airport manager. Carla Smith isn't here tonight. She's the chairman of TAA, but she and I did have some pretty lengthy conversations about this and the support that is going into this decision from the airport and from the airport authority. One of the items that was brought up was funding this, and if needed, I've got some numbers for the future profit of the airport that is estimated from the Titan fuel sales alone, not including the hangars and
So let me interrupt. Are you
tie-downs.
talking about the next item or just this salary?
No, that would be just the salary
Okay.
for this, the 35,000 for 3 months.
Yeah.
Because I know that had been a question that was asked of me privately, with how we are expecting to pay for
And
this.
we are already budgeted for 2 positions in Artfield right now, right? So that helps as well.
But I just wanted to say.
Yeah, go
that,
ahead. I'm sorry, didn't-
Because Carla isn't here, that I can help answer some of those if needed. So it's got my support for this one, though.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else on the board? I don't mean to put Ms. Udick on the spot, but do you want to say anything? If you don't, that's fine. All right, she's good if we're good. I'm sure we'll have opportunity to speak later. Well, yeah, I'd also like to thank the various airport authority members and just pilots and friends of the airport that have reached out to me, and certainly clear to me that with our aerospace background, that the airport is of extreme importance to the city of Tullahoma, and we need to get things on the right path as soon as possible, so we can hopefully reduce any damage we've already had and minimize it in going into the future. And so I appreciate the application. I think it's excellent, and I intend to vote for it. Anyone else? With that, we'll call for the vote. Passes 6-0. So thanks for that. Congratulations. Our next item, yeah, thanks. Our next item, resolution number 2038, is a resolution by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to conditionally approve a UDAG loan for the Tullahoma Airport Authority. So we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second on that. Mr. Quick can, or perhaps Sue can give us a background on what we're doing here.
This is a mechanism that sorry. This is a mechanism where we can provide funding through the city to enable the airport to accomplish the cleanup and also the preventive and new construction that they are in process of doing with valves and infrastructure improvements. It would be a way to do it without using city funds that would go into your tax dollars on the back of the taxpayers, because a UDAG loan is meant for economic development. It is meant for, it can do cleanups of various kinds, removal of slum and blight, because it's HUD money. So that is the purpose of this money, and there is sufficient money in the fund to be able to lend it. If we choose to lend it, and if the airport makes formal application, which they have not yet. So this is supposition based on just trying to move the process along in a timely manner. The loan would be at 4% below prime, which would make it currently 3%. And it could be extended the length of up to 25 years based on the fact it's an infrastructure thing, if we so chose to do that, to make it simpler to pay back from the revenue streams.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so, but the airport has not yet formally made an application for this either. This is just to bring it to you for discussion and for timeliness.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand that there's several outstanding questions related to this, and we'll talk about a few of them, I'm sure, here in a minute. Do we have an actual bill yet on the cleanup efforts? So this is just a course estimate at this time.
So we have stayed in very close contact with Matt, who is with OES, and he has said it's up to 600,000 was the last time he and I spoke, and that was absent of any unforeseen issues. As of this afternoon, there have not been any, and it looks like all of the repairs should be completed. If I'm not mistaken, Eric, what was the last repair on that? When would that be?
Installation valve, hopefully the weather dependent.
Okay, and that's the last thing. So once we install the valve, then that will be done. So speaking of, if you would like to talk to Matt, Matt is here.
Let me ask one more question.
sorry.
Do we have any outstanding expectation of requests from, for example, the credit union or anybody?
So what we've done is we have worked very closely with Josh Sudbury, Matt Jernigan at Ascend. We've given them all the assurances that we can of taking care of the issues with the pond, the retention pond. We feel very good about that. We have also had Ms. Hoskins help to put together a letter along with Nick Kimbrough that spells out we will be responsible for the cleanup. The last real portion that we're working on right now is some landscaping, and we are working with their landscaping company. I think, Matt, you may be working some with that landscaping company, so we can make sure we're meeting their expectations. So we feel very good with that. We have been in contact with the former Jacobs. We've been in contact with TE Connectivity. Everything seems very, very calm, and we don't see any issues right now that show that we would have any additional concerns and expenses at this moment.
And one more thing, and then I'll bring up. So just to clarify, us approving this, and this is just for us to all understand together. Approving this tonight does not automatically make the loan. We're just saying that if it's requested, now it's available. We're agreeing to that it's a potential source. So we're kind of giving pre-approval, but we're not actually approving it tonight.
Right. This is a mechanism for us to make sure that we have some things in place. I hope all of you have checked your emails this afternoon. There's some conversations that are occurring that sounded very promising on the phone this afternoon. Can't really confirm those and don't really want to announce those right now, but hopefully there could be some other things that come our way that would help reduce our exposure as far as the debt on that.
Ms. Wilson, did you have something? I'm sorry.
I guess I had perceived this as being the approval by the board. And then it would be a matter of, should the TAA make
Right.
the application, a committee would review it, and we would then go ahead with the legal work. but I didn't know if the board wasn't meeting again, I thought it'd be better to bring it to board now.
Yes, ma'am. I was making that point because I know some people in the airport authority still have some question about whether they should, and I just want them to understand we're not making the loan tonight.
No.
We're just doing a pre-approval.
The,
so we can
if,
cover that.
if the board were to approve this tonight, it's basically like a pre-approval that you see in normal, everyday business, then, TAA would then, if they so choose to take advantage of that loan, then they would make application to go through the normal process. The one thing they would not have to be concerned with is, will this be approved by the board? So this is not in any way, assign this as an already, done deal, if you will, with, TAA. It's just basically saying this is out there if you want it.
Yeah. Sir, did you?
Matt Church with Ozone Environmental Service. I'm just here to answer some questions you guys have.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Church?
Maybe the question is, maybe needed to be directed. When are you gonna send a bill? And when are you expecting?
I'm glad you
payment?
asked it, Mr. Toma, then I didn't have to.
That's an important question.
I know.
The necessary cost for this project, we're all aware of, is a medium grade project. We're gonna send the bill when the project's complete. We've taken ownership of the project, and we feel that it's best to, when we turn in an invoice and a report, we want to be able to say that there's no further actions. I'm happy to say that the valve went in yesterday, and they were gonna pour concrete today, and we just had some weather issues. Other than that, all the precursors are in place. We sent a gentleman to Greenville, North Carolina 2 days ago in a pickup truck to pick up one of the 3 valves that was available from the Mississippi over. So we are definitely in partnerships with the city of Tullahoma with this situation. TDEC is awaiting our report as well. At this time, as far as we know, there's no fines or penalties. So there are some positives here. The rest of, the beautification of the property, your neighbor, has been approved by us, their work plan. It is it's a bid with a little bit of the time and material necessary to go through that. So we don't have an exact number on that today. But we feel confident the folks doing the restoration work on their property, they're very credible. They do a lot of government work. So we feel they're going to be within the guidelines of the average work numbers.
I guess the question is, what kind of time period does the TAA have to raise money, one way or the other?
When we provide you an invoice, of course, we understand it's got to go through many departments. We're not holding the city of Tullahoma nor the airport hostage. There's no liens or anything.
Appreciate
we're going to turn in an invoice, and we want to be paid for our services. And it's up to the board how long that takes. We're not going to sit here and wait for a check. We can handle the pressure.
I'm just kind of, if, they got the UDAG to look at, blah, 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 and that's a time-consuming
Yes.
thing. I've got 2 other comments, and then I'll turn it over to anybody else. I want to express my appreciation to our city administrator for taking the upper hand in seeking funds. We're all I think all of us have gotten what he's doing in bird dogging for us at the city, and I hope those things come about. I appreciate that being done. The other thing, if we do this, what kind of, the UDAC, how does that affect future loans?
We usually make about 1 loan a year, has been what it's usually been in terms of inquiries. And this will leave enough to service, I believe there'll still be enough to service 1 more loan in the fund left after we do this one. And then, of course, all repayments are returned into the fund. It's a revolving loan fund. So everything will still continue to come back for future use for economic growth, for incentives.
So what kind of capacity? We're looking at 600 possible plus on this one. What capacity do we still have
We currently have about $820,000
now.
now.
So that would
And
leave
then
us
we
with
have
about
funds coming
200.
in.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it'll be
we've got-
growing as people pay in.
Yeah, we get funds every month
Okay,
returned.
thank you.
Mr. Byrd?
I'd like to thank Matt and his crew again for the cleanup efforts. This is another item that Carla and I have spoken in depth about she did express that she wanted TAA to have the ability to send in the application should they choose to. This would just be to preemptively approve it since the next TAA meeting is the day after our only December meeting. So if we didn't pre-approve it, then we wouldn't be able to approve it until January. So it's just a way to help move that process along if that is what TAA chose to do.
Any other comments or questions? I'm sorry.
Couple things. One is, Matt, I'm sorry I didn't recognize you, but I've never seen you without a hard hat or smelling like gasoline. So, and the people behind you are laughing because they say, yeah, they've seen you in that realm too. Two things. One is there's talk of this release valve. This release valve is being placed on the other or on the property where the line connects to property that is owned by Ascend Federal Credit Union. Should something happen like this again, the first procedure in the standing operating procedure should be that person is going to run over there and close this valve. Shuts off any kind of stormwater, any kind of flow that could come from any kind of spill from the airport and get into other people's grounds and cause this kind of issue. So just want to make sure you understand that. I'm sure there's a much more technical way of saying that, but that's the layman's terms. But number two is I've got to say I commend OES. I've been around projects like this before, but I've never seen a team that responds as well as yours have. And the professionalism, the counseling, the guidance, and the ability to say, you guys are wrong, here's what you need to do. I just want to say thank you, because if we had not had a firm like you to come in and do, this could have been a major issue. And $600,000 is major. But you and I have talked where if we had not gotten to those issues immediately, it could have been a much worse environmental impact, and we'd be looking at a lot more damage and a lot more issues than we have now. So I just want to say thank you, Matt, to your team, and just really appreciate all that you've done for the city of Tullahoma.
I do really appreciate that and my team as well. With that said, none of this would have been possible without the response from the Tullahoma Fire Department, the Fire Marshal's Office, and the Coffee County Emergency Management. They were your first responders. They activated the system that they were trained in, and that's what made it all happen. We were only a tool, so your leadership that you have in place saved the day.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Do we have any other questions or comments on this item? I'm sorry, Ms. Wilson.
Yeah, I would also like to just applaud the city administrator for the job he did, as well as our first responders are top notch. I mean, by all accounts, this was handled textbook style. So I would like to thank you all for that. I also just want to just speak briefly just about the UDAG loan in general, because there's been some misunderstanding that I've heard about this item. So I just wanted to be clear that this is a loan, not a grant, not a bailout of any sort. It's a loan that has to be repaid, with collateral, and no city tax dollars are being just handed out. And also that, as Sue and others have pointed out, that the UDAG funds exist to support economic development. And the airport, I would challenge everyone that the airport is one of Tullahoma's strongest economic assets that we have. And that it does, in fact, as you can see from some of the people that spoke earlier, we have a lot of people who rely on our airport that are corporate businesses here. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, let's vote. Motion passes 6-0. So thank you for that. And then our final item on our special called meeting is a correction of a mistake I made last meeting. Item number 25-126. A vote on item 25-126 as amended as follows: to direct the purchasing department to prepare and issue an RFP to return an HR firm to address employee complaints and grievances, review and make recommendations to the city's personnel policies, and make recommendations for other appropriate HR services. I'd like to ask Ms. Hoskins to give us a little comment on this, because she helped prepare this again.
The only comment I have about this, Mayor, is, as you all know, last time we were here, there was a similar item on the agenda with one small change as to who was going to be directing this to be done. It was changed from the city attorneys to doing an RFP on this item. There was several motions made. There was a motion to table, which was withdrawn, and then there was a motion to amend. So you all discussed this at length, voted on it as amended, I think. But under Robert's rules, which we follow, when you make a motion to amend, the procedure is you vote on the motion to amend and then you vote on it as amended. So we simply amended the motion and you all voted on it. We didn't vote on it twice. It's really a minor error. As you all saw, I researched this. The case law shows, Robert's rules are guidance for boards to follow. And if a board member makes a motion to amend and then it's voted on as amended, all the court really cares about is whether or not the board actually understood what they were voting on. And I think it's very clear that you all understood what you were voting on. So I don't think this is absolutely necessary, but since we're having this special called meeting, I think just to clean up the record, it's proper for you guys to vote on this.
So, does anybody have any questions about
I do.
that?
I have, not sure the procedure on this, but since this item came up, I want to take the opportunity to offer another amendment to the motion.
Let's hear your amendment.
Does it need to be seconded first, or I just say it first?
Have we've already, well, you got to make the motion before it can be
Oh,
seconded.
okay. My motion is to ask the purchasing department to release an RFP for an HR firm to receive employee complaints and grievances as a final step in the process outlined in the City of Tullahoma purchasing, personnel regulations. And 2, give advice on the non-disciplinary HR functions that may be provided by the HR firm to assist city staff.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Did you get it? Okay, so can you read?
Or
got
you
it-
have a
I've got
copy
it
of that?
written.
So he's got a copy of it, so I'm sorry. I'm gonna hand this. Well, so that's the motion. Do we have a second on that one? We got a second on it.
I got it.
All right. So now we're voting on an amendment, okay? You keep you straight this week.
Can you
You're
read it
voting on the
again, please?
motion to amend.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going.
To release an RFP for the HR firm to, 1, receive employee complaints and grievances as a final step in the process outlined in the City of Tullahoma personnel regulations. 2, give advice on other non-disciplinary HR functions that may be provided by the HR firm to assist city HR staff.
So
I have a
on-
question
I
about
do have
that
a
before you
question.
proceed.
Sorry, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Is this the main motion?
No, this is an
Have you,
amendment.
has anyone made a motion to approve the agenda item first?
Yes.
It's already been done, and now we're making a motion to amend it.
Yes,
Make
sir.
sure we do it right.
We got a motion
Okay.
second at the first one, yeah. So I do have one question. So when it says an HR firm to receive complaints, does that imply that they're also going to help handle the complaints?
Yes, yes, they would be the process. This is the personnel regulations, and it's very, very extensive on
yeah.
how it spells it out. Where it ends is after the city administrator gets to it. So this just is that final step that we've been lacking all these years. So
Yeah.
I think that will add this in as the final step in this
Okay,
process.
that's what I just wanted to
Yeah.
clarify. I went out and did some research on other city policies, and some of them include that and some of them don't, but a lot of the ones that do are very similar to what you just said.
Okay, yeah.
So,
And then also to advise HR function on non-disciplinary, that would be to
Other
basically take
things.
the place of
Other
the-
thing, as
make
far as maybe
recommendations.
recruitment, other things. And I guess Lori is our HR officer. She could work with them. And where do I feel I need help? And they could say, I think we could help you with recruitment or evaluating
and then we're gonna have
applicants
and we're
for
gonna have an
employee. Yeah.
opportunity to approve that because it's going to be part of.
Right, that would come later.
Right.
You know.
All right.
I'm still a little confused because are we not being redundant? Because we're virtually saying, we're asking the HR people to review and make recommendations to the city personnel policies. What, I'm trying to
I
understand
I purposely left out that function that we originally asked for in the first motion. And the reason I did it, after reviewing this, I read through the whole document once again. And now this is the same personnel regulations that's been revised several times that the city's been using for over 40 years probably. And it's gone through a lot of revisions over the years. And it's gone through a revision just lately. That MTAS looked at it, and
But we haven't revised it yet.
we haven't revised it yet. But they just made some minor changes and said, this is what you need to add. And so it's already been looked at by MTAS, and I think MTAS is kind of the gold standard in looking at personnel regulations in Tennessee. I mean, they look at cities all over the place, so I think they have a lot of experience in doing this. And it was free of charge. So the reason why I left it out of the other one is just since we already had it reviewed by MTAS, they have a good product for us to approve. Why pay a separate HR firm, which could be pretty costly? If you look at as much information is in here and as detailed as it is, for somebody in an HR firm to take it for the first time and analyze this, it's going to be thousands and thousands of dollars for them to do that. Why spend the money if MTAS from the University of Tennessee that works with cities all over the state are experts in this, and I would take their recommendation.
Okay, so you're virtually saying we're gonna take that has not been approved. I just want to make sure I'm trying to understand where we're
We
coming
would,
from.
now we will have to, we haven't done it yet. We put it on hold at the last meeting as revising the personnel regulations to include this HR firm and add that last step into the personnel regulations. This is merely a motion to send out an RFP to try to hire an HR firm. We'll later have to actually go and hire an HR firm. We'll have to amend the personnel regulations to put that last step into the grievance and complaint sections. There's two sections, one for complaints and one for grievances.
Yeah.
So,
So I guess in regard to that, I would say I would like to see that, but I understand the cost savings argument. I will say that the updated version that was given to us included changes beyond what MTAS recommended. And so if we're going to do that, I think we need to be careful and ask for just the MTAS recommendations.
I would revert
and
to
look at that.
MTAS. I would revert to.
So we'll have some homework to do there.
Other than the holiday.
Could I see the
Other than the holiday,
motion?
then
It
you
would
don't know
help
what
me
else.
if I read that
Yeah,
again.
can I
It
pass?
should be on your tablet.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Okay.
So, can we see it? Where's it at? Oh,
Yours is gonna be the
yeah, so,
I guess I can wait and see the minutes.
Hmm.
I just want to know if these are adding or replacing. Wait till we get the minutes and go with it, I guess.
I'm sorry, Ms. Wilson.
I just,
When we refer to a
Okay.
final step, what are our steps now?
They're all outlined in there, but there's,
It's very detailed as far as how you file a complaint, who you file it with.
you file one against your supervisor, whether it's
yeah.
HR or their department head, and then beyond the department head.
And
and
they
it
have
goes- yeah,
5
so
days to
there's-
respond, then you have 5 days to appeal, and it's very detailed. So this would just be the last step that would take it beyond the city administrator that would allow somebody to appeal it to the HR firm. But the important part of this, it allows the city staff to be able to try to resolve these problems
Absolutely.
here and before it goes to an outside firm and potentially it's always better when you could resolve things within the family, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then it's also going to save us a lot of money because each one of these complaints or grievances that goes to this step and goes to the HR firm, I'm sure will be pretty costly because there'll be a bit of research and time and time for these kind of things isn't cheap.
So virtually, we go through these steps, but then the employee has the right to continue to pursue it through a third party? Is that?
And that's the final step after the third party, gives they give I mean, the third party can't take any action themselves. The third party will give the Board of Mayor and Aldermen their recommendation, and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen can act on that recommendation any way they want to.
Tony, again, I appreciate your thinking of the cost and stuff, but without totally reviewing that, I'm not sure that I know what all the steps are.
Well,
Well, I mean, it's been in this
Oh, I'm not
packet for
sure,
a
but
lot
I
of
haven't,
years.
I haven't seen
so
it.
again, we have opportunity later to make changes there if we
Yeah.
like, but we still got to get an RFP on the street to get
Sure,
the
I
service.
understand.
Yeah, that's true. This is merely just to release the RFP to hire them and ask for, these are the functions that we want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Any other
Yeah,
staff
I
input?
had
I'm
some.
sorry, Ms.
My button pushed.
Wilson.
Yeah, I have stated before, we've had discussions about this, and, there is a process in a chain of command that you go through. And I think that, this addresses that. And also, I like the part about give advice to HR, and the final step would be to the HR firm of our choosing, because, we do have a process in place. And, the more that I've kind of researched this, this could get costly, out of hand quick. And so I think that, there's a proper procedure for everything, and this would seem to follow in line with an extra layer at the end, once we've exhausted everything that's already laid out for us. And then also the part about MTAS and the personnel, MTAS is a very invaluable, I mean, they're experts at what they do. They cater toward specifically for city governments. And so, we've used them a ton in the past. And I think that that's, they're a solid, they have a whole panel of HR department experts. They have a legal department. I mean, it's an à la carte, everything that you need is there in relation to city government. So I think that that's definitely a solid way to go.
Alderman Byrd.
Just had a question. Number one, so would number one also be changing our the personnel policy to include HR in that? Or is this just saying that this HR firm could step in and we would have to then go back and change our personnel policy?
The way I read it, we're asking for an RFP to provide that service. I think we will still have to change our policy. I mean,
Okay.
To add in,
Yeah.
yeah, we will have to, right now, the policy ends with the city administrator. That you can file your grievance or complaint and appeal it and file again and appeal it all the way up to the city administrator, and it ends there. Well, actually, on grievances that have to do with a termination or a disciplinary thing, you could appeal it to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, which I don't know if it's ever happened.
I don't either.
But anyway, so this adds a step of the HR firm. And I was talking about complaints and grievances. I wasn't actually talking about the disciplinary part, but we could look at that and add that step in there as well.
Okay.
It would it would give advice to the board on how to act. It's still going to be the board that has to act in the end, and it'll have to be in a board meeting.
But in answer to your question, we will have to amend the policy.
Okay. That's
to
what I
make use
thought.
of that.
We'd have to go
Yeah.
back and change that later.
Mr. Toma.
Yeah, again, I just want to make sure that we're putting the ability for the employee to feel comfortable to make complaints. And I agree with you, we don't, complaints need to be chop blocked as quick as they can, but I also don't want to eliminate or make the employees feel like that they're going to go, but they're still going to be reviewed. And are we adding another process to that?
So what we're right now, we're not modifying or changing any processes yet. We're just looking for a firm that could help provide that service. later, we will have to have all that debate and argue about what policy changes we want to make and how to implement that service.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah, of course, right now on this emotion, we would be hiring them only to do what we said. We
Right.
would have to put the process in place in the, but this kind of lays out what that process in the handbook would be. Now, you know, this is a very extensive document, like I said, and it's complicated. And this is actually the personnel regulations for the city of Tullahoma. The courts and everything will look at it as almost basically a contract between the city and employees, because it states in here what the city will do for employees and what the employees will do for the city, and the means at which the city disciplines or the employees can complain. It has benefit, you know, it kind of tells the whole gambit. But one of the things, and I think one of your concerns is it's outlined in a whole paragraph in here, is about retaliation and protection from retaliation. So those protections are already here in our policy to protect the employees or whoever.
Have those already been approved, though? That's what.
Yes, this is the
existing
current,
policy.
this is the existing,
That's what I
yeah.
really, that was what I was a little
Yeah.
confused about.
Now, there is, as we understand, which is basically this, is that correct? That's been looked at again by MTAS and revised and maybe taken a few things away, changed things slightly or added to it. But it's much the same though, am I correct?
Yes.
Any other questions on the amendment? We're about to vote on an amendment, not the final motion.
Not on the amendment, no.
So the amendment is what was just presented. Y'all ready to vote? All right, let's vote on that then. All right. We've got 5 yes, 1 no. All right, that brings us back to the main motion, which is now the amended motion we just discussed. Do we have any more discussion before we take the final vote on that?
I did have one quick question.
Yeah.
We had gotten an email from the city administrator, something about possibly interviewing some of these companies that put in bids. Is that something we traditionally do, of interviewing third parties as a board?
That is, yeah. It's, I can answer it or any, but the process for the RFP process for the city has always been the same. People submit their RFPs and you could either interview them or you don't have to. But a lot of times we do interview them. I know my experience is dealing with RFPs with engineering firms to do certain projects and stuff. And we would always interview them.
So who does the interview in that case?
We set up a committee for the RFP. I mean, for this, I think it would be the Board of Mayor and Aldermen would do the interview. I think just us, it would be the only thing. But the way we did other ones, we just set up a committee of people to look at, and then the firms would give all their resumes and what they can do and experience when they answer the RFP. We would look at them, say if there's 10 people that submitted, we would look at them, maybe narrow it down to 3, and then call them in for an interview, just to get a feel for them, you know, and then we would select at that point.
So just technically speaking, that's not part of this motion. The
Right,
process is not part of this motion.
Right.
So we can have continued discussion on that if you'd like, but.
Mayor, can I?
Yes,
say
ma'am.
something? Just to clarify too, if you all want to interview these people, we would need to do that at a public meeting, of
Right.
course.
Correct.
So as to not violate the sunshine law. So you could
Right.
do that.
Yeah.
They would just need to come to a meeting and you all interview them here.
And it may not be
A study
even
session.
necessary to have
It
interviews,
may not be.
but I
I'm
didn't
gonna
want
They
I'm
want
gonna
it.
call our Public Works Department head in the back. He's raised his hand.
I've done these for 30 years, and you set up a scoring ranking sheet. It's got the criteria on there. When you get your RFQ, then you narrow it down, as Kurt said. You go down through there. When you sit down to your final 2, 3, you've got a scoring sheet. You go down each person on that committee, however many committee members you have. Normally when I do engineering, I have about 4 or 5 people on that committee, and they all get the same sheet. They look at all the same proposals, and they score them out. At the end, you sit down and discuss it, and then you bring it forward.
So I guess to me, that would be a work session. We'd call that as a work session. And what I would propose, assuming we pass this, is that me or someone in the staff kind of puts together some little worksheet or something like that, and we can agree on that at the beginning of the work session and conduct our interviews if we decide that's what we want to do.
To follow through on that, yes, we have already got a template ready. If you're changing the scope, it's easy. We can change the scope to whatever you vote it to be. And generally what we do is we will put something in that as far as a schedule indicating that there would be an expectation of a review, or if we knew when it would be, we would give some kind of a schedule to them, a tentative one, letting them know that there would be an interview session at a study meeting and then an approval process.
All right, so yeah, we're gonna vote now. The last one was amendment. Anybody have any other comments before we take an honest to goodness final vote on this motion?
I'm just reiterating, that this is, we just voted to amend the motion and we passed that. So now we're voting on that same motion again, but this is voting on the motion to finalize it.
Yeah.
But it's the same one we
As
just voted,
amended, yeah.
as amended,
Right.
yeah.
As amended.
As amended, that's what I want to know.
As amended.
As amended, I don't.
All right, let's vote. All right, motion carries 5-1. Thank you. So that motion passes. And with that, that's the end of our special session agenda, and we are adjourned.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Did you put the cover sheet on that?